Hi guys, coming to you with a very highly requested video today, and that is how to backload an insulin pen. We've covered this before, but since we get questions every single week on the forum, on Q&As, I wanted to go into this one more time just so you really understand what it is, what it looks like, how to do it, so you feel comfortable doing this at home. So first thing is, what is backloading? Backloading is the process of taking an insulin pen, taking the back off, the clue's in the name, and filling it up with your oil of anabolics so that you can use that for injection. The reason we suggest using an insulin pen is because it's a very thin needle, and it means you can inject into site without too much trauma to the area. If you see people using larger gauge needles, 23 gauge, 25 gauge, these are quite thick needles. And if you can inject that into, let's say, your delt, it might cause a lot of trauma, a lot of swelling, a lot of scar tissue buildup, which is not only going to display on stage quite negatively, it's also going to really hurt. So we kind of want to avoid that. So the reason we use insulin pens is just for ease of injection. And at the end of the day, we don't want this thing to be really, really painful. So we're going to use these. So I'm going to show you how to do it. But first of all, we'll talk through what we need. So firstly, in order to draw up our oil, we're going to need our syringe. I recommend a Luer lock syringe. Essentially, this means it has a screw on to the needle. It means when you squeeze the syringe, the end doesn't just fly off, which is not what we want. We're going to lose our oil, lose our anabolics. Okay, so a Luer lock syringe. This is a 3 ml. Doesn't really matter. Is it 2 ml to 5 ml? Depends on how much oil you're going to use. Then we're going to have a syringe, a needle for drawing. So I've got a 21 gauge needle here. You can use a 19 gauge, whatever's comfortable for you. The smaller the gauge, down to 19, it means it's got a larger hole, essentially, so you can draw up more oil more easily, but you would not use this for injection unless you want to stab yourself with a harpoon. But it's 21 gauge needle, all right? And then we obviously need our anabolics. So being oil-based, you can draw up multiple oils into one syringe without any problem. So what I've done is I've drawn up testosterone and masteron into a syringe here, and that's going to be a week's worth for someone like myself, okay? So that is now ready to backload my insulin pens. I'm then going to take an insulin pen. So the insulin pens I would use would be a 29 gauge, so nice and thin needle, 1 ml syringe, that holds 1 ml of oil, and is a 0.5 inch, so you probably can't see that, but it's a 0.5 inch needle, very thin, okay? But the reason we backload them is because that is nice and thin. It's going to blunt it if we don't to put that in the vial. So we don't want to do that and then go into our skin. It's going to hurt. Okay. So we take the back off, remove the cap, and then you've got the back of the syringe. We're going to pull that plunger out, and usually I would hold this in my mouth so it doesn't touch any surfaces. But for the purpose of this, I'll just put it down. We're going to take our syringe, and again, we're going to hold the needle facing down, orange bit facing the floor, and we're going to fill that up so the needle goes in the back, and we're going to put in an amount based upon your injection frequency. So in this, it's going to be 0.5 ml. So I can see that is going in there. 0.5 ml in that syringe. Cap goes back on our main syringe. And then what we're going to do is just place the plunger in the syringe only briefly. Because there's going to be loads of air in there, we don't want to force the oil out the front of the syringe. What we want to do is then turn it upside down, and the oil is now going to drop based on gravity, and the air is going to go to the top of the syringe. Okay, when that's all moved and the oil's come down, you haven't lost any oil there. What you have done is move the air bubble to the top. We're then going to push, using the plunger, all the air out, and now you have a syringe with no air in it and everything ready for injection. All you do is take the top off and then go for an intramuscular or subcutaneous injection, whatever suits you. So that is how you do a backloading of an insulin pen. If you've got any questions at all, please let us know on the forum. Please go to Physique Collective if you're watching this and you're not a paid member. We've got loads of great content. If you need any more help with regards to getting your injections right, anything to do with your preparation, anything to do with your PED questions, please sign up to Physique Collective, $9.99 a month, fantastic resource, and I'm sure you're going to find it great. Like I say, any questions, let us know, and I hope you enjoyed this one and found it beneficial.